Don't forget the intro.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I almost forgot the intro. Hey, this week on Star Wars Sucks. Oh, I didn't write anything.
You didn't write anything. You've been down here.
No, I wrote all kinds of other stuff, but I didn't write the teaser. I wrote everything else.
You're an MC. Make it up.
I wrote everything else except the teaser. This week on Star Wars Sucks. The show sucks already. So stick around. We're going to talk about Tales of the Jedi Season 1, Episode 4, the further fall of Count Dooku. Or not fall, but manipulation.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. Anyway, stick around. We're already off to a great start. Here we go. All right, let's try to do this the right way. Howdy, succulents! Welcome to Star Wars Sucks, your non-toxic, low-sodium Star Wars show that doesn't make you feel bad for not knowing that Jedi Master Yaddle was voiced by Bryce Dallas Howard, who you've seen in Jurassic World, and who has also directed 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, 1 episode of the Book of Boba Fett, and is the daughter of famed actor-director Ron Howard, a.k.a. Opie, who directed Solo, a Star Wars story, among many other things. So whether you're a hardcore fan or just a little swarzy curious, this is your Star Wars safe place. We are the Circle of Nerds, and we do absolutely love Star Wars, even if we don't always like it. So let's meet the team, shall we? So to my left, your right, star of stage and screen, it is the sensational Sherry.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Hope everyone's doing well.
There you go. And from the Outer Rim territory of Bostooine, it's Daddy Louie. But Daddy Louie is not joining us this week. It's so sad. He'll be back. And of course, hailing from parts unknown, it's T to the Oni.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back.
You're really reaching for those names, man.
What'd you say?
You're really reaching for those names.
I know. I got nothing. Tony, come up with something for yourself, please, because
You're supposed to do it.
I'm tapped out.
We'll figure it out.
That's a season 2 thing. Doesn't feel right.
No, that's not.
T to the Oni is fun to say.
It sounds like a pasta dish.
T to the Oni?
Yeah.
Are you just playing off his Italian sounding name, Tony? It's just
sure. Okay.
It's low key racist. I don't know.
Oh my God. It's
right.
pasta. Everybody loves pasta.
So not if you've got a gluten intolerance, you don't love pasta.
There's gluten-free pasta.
All right,
so
touche.
Calm down.
Touche. All right, you win.
I know.
All right, so what are we doing here? Our mission is to watch all of the canon Star Wars films and TV shows in chronological order, breaking them down, connecting the dots, and learning more about Star Wars and maybe even a little bit more about ourselves. So as a warning, there will be spoilers. So before we get into the nitty gritty here, just wanted to give you a brief news announcement. On Friday, June 14th, mark your calendars, save the date, because we're going to be recording the show live from Daddy Louie's Cantina in the Outer Rim territory of Bostooine. So we'll be streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. So whichever one you want to watch on, you can watch there. But if you miss us live, of course, that episode will drop on Saturday morning as always. So if you miss us, no worries there. I'm excited about doing a live show.
I think that'll be really fun.
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna have a couple new voices, new faces on there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It could be really fun. We'll be open to take questions live on the show and criticisms from all of our fan.
One fan.
Which is just one. That's
all you need.
That's all you need. One is all you need.
One push-up.
Just like cock push-ups.
Just need one.
One is all you need. T to the Oni. That just reminds me, cock push-ups. Doug, D to the UG. So I don't know if I can't call you T to the Oni. Anyway, getting off track. So last week we talked about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and the general consensus around the campfire here was that despite a few technical shortcomings and a few questionable story choices, it genuinely was a fun film and a pretty good start to the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
Everybody agree with that?
I
pretty
do.
much? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah.
So this week we're talking about Tales of the Jedi, Season 1, Episode 4, entitled The Sith Lord. So this episode aired on October 26th, 2022, and we follow the continuing journey of Count Dooku, or the descent into darkness of Count
Way into
Dooku.
darkness.
Yeah. So the episode takes place about 32 BBY and is interestingly split before and after the death of Qui-Gon Jinn. I thought that was a really cool, a cool thing that they did there with that. So, and just a quick note on BBY, ABY references. So the events of Star Wars: A New Hope, which is the very first Star Wars film released in 1977, the events in that movie are considered year zero on the Star Wars timeline. So anything that happens before that is considered BBY, or before the Battle of Yavin, which was that, decisive turning point and all that. Anything that happens after is considered ABY. So you'll hear us use those terms from time to time. Now,
I should point one thing out real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, please.
I was at a Star Wars trivia event last night, and it came up in conversation with somebody that they referenced ABY, BBY, and I was kind of surprised. Not judging or anything, because thinking about it doesn't really get brought up too much. But most people, were confused that they call it the Battle of Yavin, because it's just, most people just know it as the battle that destroyed the Death Star. So, some people don't quite make that connection.
Yeah, and I think that it's we get that just from that's I think the main planet in the system. Is it the Yavin system? I know that they're on a moon that's orbiting Yavin. I think they're on Yavin 4.
I believe that's correct.
I think Yavin 4. So they're on a moon that orbits. I think Yavin's actually like a gas giant, maybe. Or not a gas giant, not like a sun, but like it's gaseous. It's a gaseous planet, similar to like Jupiter.
Well, so I'm actually, my understanding of it, and Lord knows I could be wrong on this. Yeah, my understanding is that Yavin is the system, Yavin 4 is the planet, and Endor is the moon.
Endor's in a completely different system. That's where the Ewoks were. You're thinking Death Star 2.
I am. That's my bad.
Okay.
That's okay. Yeah, and that was and so like with Endor, that was the sanctuary moon.
Well, and I didn't know that the first Death Star was the Battle of Yavin till this show.
Yeah.
So I had no idea. So I guess now that I hear it out loud, now I get where it starts.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I could see them doing that, Tony, at trivia. It's when the Death Star blew up, the first one. So
that was that big pivotal moment. All that stuff takes place within a short time frame. So, but yeah, that whole BBY, ABY thing came about, back in the 90s, and it didn't stick until I think the early 2000s. I don't remember now. We talked about it on like the first episode, but I don't remember. We'll have to revisit. So, all right, who wants to go first? We're going to talk light side, dark side, and blast points. And for those of you joining us for the first time, light side, those are the pros, dark side are the cons, and blast points are just going to be, impactful or meaningful things about the episode, or any hot takes that you might have. So we're not talking about, like the technical stuff. We kind of went off the rails last week talking about like technical aspects. We're just really concerned about the story. Like what was it about the story? Pros and cons of the story. How it made you feel. How it made you, view the story so far. Like where we're at in our Star Wars journey. How did this particular story impact either way? Pros, cons. Or maybe there's nothing. Maybe this is just like a meh episode for you, and it's not impactful in any way. So who wants to go first? I think Sherry. We went.
No, go ahead.
We
Tony.
went. Yeah, Tony.
I'll go. So for me, this definitely has some impact. Just especially now, just immediately having coming off seeing the Phantom Menace, it was very interesting seeing that play out. And honestly, like this particular episode could have been slotted right in the middle of that movie. I mean, it really could. And
Or at the very least, at the end of it.
Yeah.
Or close to the end, of course.
Like
before, before Qui-Gon.
It actually almost threw me off for a minute because I'm sitting there going, I'm watching it in the first part of the episode, which takes place prior to Qui-Gon's death. Mm-hmm. It almost lost me for a minute because I'm trying to figure out when could this have happened. So they were stuck on Tatooine. They initially met, had the minor altercation with Maul as they were getting off the planet. And then my mind almost skips over them going back to Coruscant and having the senatorial issues there before going back to Naboo. So to my mind, it took me a minute to recognize where in the story this could have happened.
Right.
But once I clicked into it, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And it is really, really well done. I really do wish that I had just a little bit more of the background of Dooku and his interactions with the Sith Lord, who has not yet been named. Of course, we know who it is, but avoid spoilers. So
talk to him, Darth Sidious.
I'm really curious as to what he said, what he did to convince Dooku to join him. Because Dooku's whole thing, and he says it point blank in this episode, is he's frustrated with the corruption and the downfall of the Senate, and that the Jedi are acting as pawns for that corrupted system. I get that. That's an argument that makes total sense to me.
Oh yeah.
However, Dooku knows who he's working for now, and knows that person is as responsible as anybody for the corruption in the Senate.
No, I don't think he knows who.
No, I don't.
In the Senate, he just knows this is Lord Sidious.
Right.
He doesn't know who it is.
Yeah, I don't think that he.
I don't think.
No.
They're in the same room together, and yeah, he's got a hood over his head, but you really think he can't see his face?
Well, that's the thing. When he tapped into the dark side, have you ever noticed, in the movies, he looks worse because he's tapping in fully. So he, even his, lower jaw looks different when they show the senator. If you've ever noticed.
And then as the senator, he's just like, oh, hello.
Right.
Wonderful to see you again.
But he looks more, and his eyes change as well. The color, everything when he's.
That's a good point.
Lord Sidious.
That is a great point. And you know what? As many times as I've seen these things, that is a great point. That is something that I've not noticed. Yes, they did.
His eyes are yellow.
In this episode, yeah, when he's got the hood up, you can definitely see the yellow eyes.
Yes.
So.
All right.
I don't think he knows.
I can accept that as canon.
Yeah, I don't think he knows who the senator is.
Again, it's like Superman and Clark Kent. It's like glasses on, glasses off. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
That makes sense to me, I guess. From my understanding of Jedi's ability to sense people's intentions and things like that, to me, that should be harder to hide. But, hey, he's a Sith Lord. He knows how to do some shit. So, okay, I can accept that.
But look at the Phantom Menace. I mean, my boy was bold enough to be at the funeral of Qui-Gon Jinn. He was fucking right there, standing next to Yoda and Mace Windu, arguably two of the most powerful Jedi of the time. They had no idea. And
that is one thing that confused me, and I I don't know that I want to call it a dark side point. Maybe it's just, funky timing. But
sure.
I mean, the way that I interpret the episode is that, Yaddle talks to Dooku and says, "Hey, we're about to head out to go to the funeral," and Dooku says he's not going, and Yaddle follows him, and instead he goes to meet with Sidious.
Yeah.
But how could Sidious have been where Dooku went to meet him if Sidious was at the funeral?
That's a good point. It might have been days after.
It's possible. It's one of those things that
time lapse that just wasn't shown.
I think it was a clone, but that's just me.
You think who was a clone?
I think he has a clone.
Who, Dooku?
Mm-hmm. No,
Sidious.
Why would he? Anyway, I'll say my piece in a minute.
Interesting. That's an interesting theory. But I am really curious what their interactions were like. I mean, I know they bring up Sith Lord, which is the first time that we're hearing that name, and avoiding spoilers. This is another character that I really want to know more about, because my understanding of this character, from what I've read, from what I've heard, is that he, similarly to Qui-Gon, or I'm sorry, not Qui-Gon, similarly to Dooku, was unhappy with the status of the council and their role. It's, to me, it was very like, okay, so we're name dropping him, we're showing that he has this relation to Kamino, but obviously, they make it clear later in the episode that Dooku must have killed Sith
Lord. Well, so there is some backstory for that. Like it is revealed more about Sith Lord and Dooku. I mean, if we're going a little bit back, I don't want to go too far forward, but if we're going to go a little bit further back, they were younglings together. They were both. This was like about 102-ish BBY, because Yaddle was there. Yaddle was around since the High Republic era. Like 500 and something BBY. We already know Yoda was there, but no, Dooku and Sith Lord were both. They were bros. They were pals. They were in the same little youngling, like Hawkbat clan or Hawkbat group, or I think I want to say Hawkbat clan. They were both in the same little group, the same little like
classroom,
like class. Yeah. They were in the same cohort, youngling cohort, and there were adventures and things that happened there as well. But some of this stuff is in the books, and we're not really discussing the books. No. Even though some of these books are canon, we're not getting into that. I mean, we can dive into them. We can deep dive in the books a little bit just to, help fill in the gaps that are from the series. But also there's going to be more stuff revealed about Sith Lord and Dooku as we start getting into the Clone Wars animated series. So some of your concerns will be
that's the beauty. That's what I like about this format, is that we're laying the groundwork and then we'll get there and fill it in.
It's gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I promise you, we'll get there.
So yeah, I really enjoyed the episode, seeing him because not last week but the week before, we watched a previous episode of the same show that had Dooku in it, and we see him struggling and having a bad moment but coming back from it. And I'm really curious to dive into this character more and see what brought him from that bad moment that Qui-Gon pulled him back from to just going full out. I'm
gonna cut Yaddle's head off. Like, it's like, where do you where do you go? Where do you go? But I mean, we see this descent over decades. I mean, I'm sure that he had been disillusioned even before we see him for the first time with young Qui-Gon. And
I think it just has a lot to do with the corruption of the Jedi. And and he finally snapped. And he snapped the wrong way, obviously. But
so I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. And yeah, it really sets a tone for what's to come. And
ooh, yes, it does. Yes, it does. You got any blast points? Anything impactful?
Outside of, I mean, obviously, just his downfall is just the most impactful thing that there is.
Right.
And that's just it's kind of incredible for animation to literally see him go from maybe there's a chance to nope, and you can almost just see the light go out in his eyes, and he just goes, "This is who I am now," and that's it. The other, the one, and I'm going to call it a blast point. We learn in the Phantom Menace, they talk about it and say, well, hey, the rule of Sith is there's always two. Did we kill the master or did we kill the apprentice?
The apprentice, right.
But if Sidious is the master and Maul was the apprentice, Dooku makes 3.
Well, he wasn't a Darth. So so there's a technicality there. So that was Darth Maul, and Dooku becomes Darth Tyrannus
later.
And I think this was when he takes out Yaddle. I think that's the final step for him to become Darth Tyrannus.
Okay.
Because but also it's the Sith. They they don't really follow. I mean, they do follow the rules, but it's just like
they don't follow the rules.
And Sidious does not follow the rules. Sidious is going to do whatever he needs to do in order to make these things happen for himself.
He probably saw that Maul was going to die anyway. He's pretty powerful. He can hide he can mask himself from all the other Jedi.
Maul was a tool.
So they're all tools.
Yeah.
To be honest, they're all tools. Yeah. And Dooku was a pawn, and he felt that shit across the cosmos and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to get this guy because he's in the Jedi."
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think he sacrificed Maul. To be honest, I know he didn't kill him, but I think there were some factors there, and he knew what had to happen.
It's like he's thinking like 20 steps ahead. It's like I need to separate Anakin,
from his mother. Sure. Oh yeah, none of that was a coincidence,
right?
I don't think so.
No, so I'm going to send Maul to kill Qui-Gon, which is gonna really sever Anakin from any sort of hope of like a solid foundation. I know the Jedi Council is going to use Anakin as a pawn, but also by killing Qui-Gon, that's going to push Dooku more in my direction, because Dooku loved Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yes, and you could see that.
You could see that. And he blames the Jedi Council for his death. He blames the Jedi Council and Sidious. He told Sidious he didn't have to die. He could have been an ally for us.
But again, he's thinking, and I think Sidious is using to be honest, he's using the Force on his ass.
Yeah.
And saying,
I agree.
Hey, dude, he's talking to him like, you need to be the balance. You need to be the balance. Same thing he did with Anakin. So he knows what he's doing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So Sherry, what about you? Pros, cons, blast points. What you got?
So the pros for me, I thought were just learning about again, like Qui-Gon and Dooku's relationship. I thought that was a good one. Because you can see again what the Jedi don't like, the love in his eyes,
right,
for him, as a student, or like, this is my son.
They were friends. I mean, they were
friends. They knew each other. And again, like I said last week, Qui-Gon, Dooku, and him saw the same issue, and I think they felt kind of the same, but Dooku went in this direction, and Qui-Gon is trying to do a better direction. That's all. Is
that cat rubbing on the tripod again? 'Cause I just saw your camera.
Yes, she is shaking the tripod so she can sit with me. Come on. So, and I think one of the things that I thought was interesting was Yaddle, because I've only seen her this, the one time.
Right.
Obviously, it's the only time we see her, which kind of sucks. But
she was in Phantom Menace briefly.
Okay.
She's on the council, and then she's standing. Yeah,
that's right. But when Minerva stopped shaking the camera, so but yeah, the interesting thing was in the beginning when he went and deleted all of Camino.
Yeah.
So,
and Sifo-Dyas's record.
We all know what Camino is, right?
Well,
for the most part,
do we? Do we know?
Well, I do.
Well,
but
I mean,
we don't. I do.
On our journey where we're at currently. Yes, we are not.
So that's fine. But you're gonna figure that out.
Well, I mean, next week's homework. But anyway.
So
we're getting there.
So there's that. And Yaddle, I think she figured it out. The reason she followed him, not because he didn't want to go to the funeral, to be honest. When he turned and he said he wasn't going in front of the tree, you could see in her eyes. And again, like you said, Tony, with animation, like, they're really doing it.
Yeah. I mean, you could see the concern. You really,
her heart fall.
Yeah.
Like, shit. You know what I mean? Like, in that moment, I felt her just saying, fuck.
Yeah.
He's done something. He's doing something he's not supposed to be. She might think it's because Qui-Gon's, died, but that's not where it started. I mean, that helped push him over. I think that helped push him over the edge. But and
she's known him since he was a youngling.
Yes.
I mean, so she knows Dooku.
Well, and how old is she? Because her English is great.
Her basic,
her basic. I was telling Tom that today. I was like, she must be way over Yoda's age.
I don't know. I
don't know.
I think she's like 500 ish.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's the females because we're awesome. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just joking. But
so she was 477 years old
at that time
when she died.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But
and Yoda was like 800.
Yeah. So I think
so he was like 600, 700. He was about 700 years old at this time.
He was. So his English should have been better. Shame on him. But
geez, maybe it's because he was old. Maybe that's why. Maybe he had a little Alzheimer's or a little dementia.
No.
Come on.
No.
I mean, he's been using the Force for 800 years. I mean, it's got to take
well, then
a
get
toll.
some babble, because I don't know what to tell you.
He did babble all the time.
He did. But yeah, I agree with, and like when she said this is what got me, and I think this is one of the cons, or one of the pros, is when she said, when she's hiding and she's like, I resign from the council because I agree with you.
Right.
I agree with you. That right there should have been like, what am I, like, he should have been in his mind, and you could see it. He was thinking like, what? Oh yeah. What am I doing? Yeah. But then you got old boy standing there. And I think he just twisted that mind again. I really think he uses them as puppets.
Oh, of course he does.
To do his bidding. And, that mind trick works on most. So if you're that powerful where you can hide who you are to everyone, obviously he can trick your mind. I mean, especially when he's got that opening That vulnerability, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just that little sliver of vulnerability, like
that doubt
and love and hate.
Mm-hmm.
And he just gets in there and says, cool, I got you.
Like if you think about it, like on a religious level, like if you look at a lot of different religions, you know, he's very much like that quintessential devil Satan character. Jeez, there goes the TIE pilot. I guess he wanted
to be with me.
All right, there goes Jet Wash. Won't hang out.
Sorry.
All right. But that's what in most religious mythologies.
Yeah,
that's what the devil does. Is that devil finds that opening, that weak spot, that vulnerability, like you said. You know, whatever it is, those doubts, those fears.
Yep.
You know.
So yeah, but it did shock me when she opened that shit. I was like, oh yes.
Oh, when the door slammed. I
was so excited because I thought, okay, she's gonna live. Because I have seen this before, but I didn't remember.
Yeah.
And when she flipped into this, so that was basically a con for me because I was like, come on. If you can open that door, girl, you could have flew to your ship real quick. I mean, I'm sorry. I would have pulled that energy from wherever to
That's
live.
like a lot. That was a big ass door.
It was like a big ass door, but like Yoda says, it's just
judge me by my size, do you?
Right. It's just like a rock.
Size matters not.
You know, in Jedi terms, that was nothing. I mean, I know that. I get it, but I'm just saying.
I don't know, man. That was
but
it's
anyway.
funny. When that happened, the first thing that you said was like, ooh, whoever opens that door, it's going to be a mess.
It's all gushy. That was my reaction.
That was your reaction. Like,
but when she opened it, I was like, oh,
right?
Yay, she's going to live. And then when she flipped inside instead of friggin' outside, at least fall outside. I mean, I know it was
exactly. Like to me, that was the thing is if she falls back, the door can close behind her. She's got time to recover a little bit. She can get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Come forward and it's like, oh, you're fucked.
Yeah,
I was so upset.
That's it. That's a wrap.
When she came forward, I was like, oh shit.
It's like when you watch a horror movie. It's like, no, don't go in there. Don't go in the closet. Don't go in the basement. Don't flip.
Why are you going upstairs? Where are you gonna go?
Yeah.
I was like, no. But yeah, so I was like, oh no. And I guess the only con I have is where they split. Because I didn't get it when he was like talking to him and then standing at the tree and he's dead. And I was like, what? So that one a little bit, like they should have put a little bit something else in there. I don't know what
they did. They did some subtle changes, but it's like,
come on.
when Yaddle and Dooku walk away from each other, you know,
okay, sure, but
when it aired, there was a commercial to break it up. But
oh man,
like when we come back, there's no commercial break on here. But like
obviously.
When it first aired, there's a commercial break. But there's not because it aired on Disney Plus.
That was my only con, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your dark side.
My dark side. Yeah, that was my only dark side.
And if you speaking of dark side, when we do come back and they show Coruscant again, the sky is all dark and gloomy and cloudy. Mm-hmm. Like prior to that was not the case.
Right.
So now the whole tone, the whole mood had changed when they show the Jedi Temple again after Qui-Gon's death.
Yeah.
But again, you don't, you know, if you don't pick up those little subtleties, then it's like, wait, you just talked to Qui-Gon like literally like 5 minutes ago and now he's dead. What the fuck happened?
So that went a little bit, I was like, that's a little silly. There should be something. I mean, I don't know, show a piece of the fight scene or something. I have no idea, but you know, show me something like Tony said, that first piece could have been in the movie because they did go back.
Yeah.
And you don't remember that. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, what? But they did. They did go back before. And then they came back with Annie and, you know, all that stuff. So, but that was my only thing. And I think it's a good watch. I think people should watch it in this order because that was interesting.
Okay. I
did like that.
Now, let me ask you, this is for both of you. So whoever wants to jump in. When having known now that, you know, Qui-Gon died, and then seeing Dooku's reaction to Qui-Gon's death. Did that have any extra emotional impact for you seeing it in this order, or would it have been better to see it in like the order of the release and then going back and seeing this, since this obviously came out many years after, you know,
I personally think this was a good way to see it.
This doing it like in order, in chronological order like this. Okay.
Yeah. For sure.
All right.
Because you kind of get, like I said,
without the previous episode of this show, you don't know what their relationship is between.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If you wouldn't have put the movie in between 3 and 4.
Yep.
People are like, what?
Right. And then now as we move forward, because homework for next week is going to be Attack of the Clones, Star Wars Episode 2.
Okay.
So now we're really getting more into like the nitty gritty here. So we're going to see more of Dooku. We're going to see more of Anakin, more of Obi-Wan, obviously. And, you know, all of these things are going to start unfolding. But I think it'll be interesting watching this again after seeing this episode and seeing this descent into darkness, you know, that Dooku has been on, you know, and seeing where it leads him. And then as we see him interact, there's a very interesting scene between Dooku and Obi-Wan in Attack of the Clones. And very interesting scene. I'm not going to spoil it, but we're going to watch it for next week.
Okay.
There's a very interesting scene, and like knowing that scene and then having watched this again, for me personally, that scene is going to be more impactful, because when you're watching it, this is just my opinion. It may not be that way for you or for any of our listeners, but for me, knowing how that scene plays out, when I watch it again, I promise you I'm going to get choked up. Like I'm already getting choked up thinking about it because of the interaction between Dooku and Obi-Wan is very much like that interaction between Dooku and Qui-Gon. So that's his little nephew, basically. I mean, Obi-Wan is like Dooku's nephew. I mean, if we're looking at Qui-Gon as being like a son type figure to Dooku, so it's just there's layers. There's so many layers. It's so cool.
I just think it's I mean, obviously it's all Lord. It's Sidious. It's him, because if they would have changed within the Jedi Order with their emotions intact, using that, because like the living force, like Qui-Gon loved Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he didn't let that turn him to things. Like, he still did what he needed to do as a Jedi. And I think that is the difference.
Qui-Gon is so powerful, and we're going to learn just how powerful he is or was.
Yeah.
And it was because, Sherry, like you said, it was because of that love. He was not afraid to use that emotion.
Yeah.
Instead of being consumed by it, instead of letting it become fear, because that's what the Jedi Council does. The Jedi tell you that, you know, these emotions they're gonna lead to fear and hatred, and that leads to the dark side. So if you love something, and I get it, it's coming from like a Buddhist mentality. It's like, you know, you can't, you know, but you
can't suppress those emotions.
Right.
It's like, you know, Star Trek. It's like Vulcans.
Yeah.
You can only suppress those emotions for so long,
and then
you're going to explode, right? Because that's the way it works. That's why they suppress their, you know what I mean? There was like a lot of things, but for Qui-Gon and I think Qui-Gon would have changed if none of this, you know, Darth side, you know, the dark side would have not been there. I think him and Dooku could have made those positive changes and said, listen, you can still have a family. You can still do this. You can still do, you know what I mean? it doesn't matter, but we have the Force. Let's use this energy for good.
Had
Even though
Qui-Gon,
they think they're doing it, but they're not.
Yeah, but they're not. Had Qui-Gon interrupted that meeting instead of Yaddle, I think that would have been a wrap. I think that,
know.
and I think that's exactly why Sidious did what he did.
Yeah, because he knew Qui-Gon would have changed it.
Qui-Gon was that cornerstone for Dooku. He was that last anchor to the light side. Because Dooku was, I don't even want to say Dooku was, I mean, Dooku did fall the dark side, but he wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't evil. Sidious is evil, pure evil. But Dooku wasn't. Dooku was just disillusioned and burnt out, and he felt betrayed. I mean, he believed in all of this, and then just seeing the decline and the entropy of the Jedi, and it's just like he's just like, man, fuck this. What a waste.
Left. You didn't have to make those choices to kill Jedi and do all this stuff.
He didn't. But like you said, Sidious got into his fucking head.
It's about the whole balance.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps telling them, "Oh, we need balance." Dude, how can there be balance when there's only two of you?
Right.
Like, why would you even think that's okay? But he's picking the most vulnerable ones.
Yeah.
To say, "Oh, well, I'm bringing balance." No, you're not.
I'm going to bring.
That's a lie.
I'm going to bring peace, order, and justice to the galaxy. I'm going to do everything that you want. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get rid of the corrupt Jedi. We're going to rebuild everything so that everything is as it should be. And you're going to help me make that happen.
It's all a lie.
It's all a lie. And because Sidious just needed these powerful pawns to help him get where he needed to go.
Yeah, he's playing chess.
Oh God. And he's always, I don't even want to say he's 10 moves ahead. He's like 10 games ahead. I mean, like he's playing everything and everybody just so smoothly. I mean, the guy, I mean, he's just right. I mean, and when we see that, and that's another scene that's just heartbreaking, that do it scene. But we've got a ways to go before we get there. But anyway. So yeah,
those are my thoughts.
All right. I don't know if I have any thoughts beyond what you guys were talking about. I think I have a bit of a blast point. But I get it though. It's like how, I don't want to say easily, but how easily and how quickly Dooku made that pivot, how he made that turn. Like when we're in that hangar and we've got Yaddle, Sidious, and Dooku, you could see the struggle on Dooku's face. You could really, really see that struggle. Like he was really, really like weighing the options and like, and then there was that moment where his expression just went blank. He went numb. He takes Yaddle out. He just.
But did you see Sidious? That's where I saw his eyes.
Yeah.
And
he was smiling and laughing. He's such a dick.
That's when he did the little mind trick.
Do it.
Yeah. That's exactly. You could see it.
Yeah.
Because he looked at the back of his head. It's not like he was looking at his face.
No.
And they showed that clip of him, and you see him like.
Yeah. There's.
And then there's the snap, and then you're like, oh, he's really gonna kill this woman. And he does.
And
he does it.
And immediately after,
I think he regretted it.
You could see it. You see the regret. You see that moment of what have I done?
But then when Sidious starts laughing and like, this is what we're doing. This is
now he's fully committed.
Now he's done.
Now he's done.
He touched totally into the dark side.
But I mean, and interestingly enough, Dooku's journey is not over.
And was Yaddle his master?
No. No. She was just no. She was just like,
just another.
She was a trainer. She was a teacher. I mean,
she seemed pretty close to him.
Well, yeah, of course, she's known the guy.
So, yeah, since the beginning.
Since he was a youngling, like legit. True. Like, I mean, so.
All right.
So it's interesting to see Dooku's
turn
fall. I mean, because he's you know, I mean, we all know what happens to Dooku, but
like I joke around about the Sith and I think they're cool, but that was horrible.
Nah,
there's no need for you to kill in order to get your way. It's just not. No, it's not a thing.
No,
you can use the Force in the correct way without doing that.
And Sidious is just insidious. I mean, he is really an insidious character. He is just oof. It's like on one hand, it's like I kind of admire the guy,
right?
But at the same time, I'm just like, oh my God. It's like,
he's a great chess player.
He really is. I mean, he really, really is. Yeah. Like without a doubt. I mean, so I don't know. All right. So that's it. That's the episode. That's episode 4 of Tales of the Jedi.
Yep.
The Sith Lord. So, but yeah, anyway, that was my take, is how quickly he turned. But again, it's just a testament to how powerful Sidious is, like how strong in the dark side he is. But it's not just the dark side. Dude is smart. I mean, he is smart. He is next level intelligent, and again, he's 10 games ahead of you. So, all right, so that is that. So our homework assignment for next week. We're watching Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Okay.
Shit's about to get real. I mean, shit's about to get real. I mean, things have been I mean, we went from young Jedi adventures.
I know, right?
And now Yaddle to keep murdering this cute little Yaddle, just like twink. I mean, like, how could you do that? How could you? I mean, what depths do you have to plumb in your soul? Because it didn't have to, it couldn't have taken much.
Well,
I mean, it's just, she's a tiny little thing.
But it gets worse.
It gets so much worse. It gets so much worse. And the fact that George Lucas intended Star Wars to be something for 12-year-olds, George, come on, my guy.
No. Well, I mean, now it's
whatever. Emotional damage.
Yes.
Emotional damage.
You're so right, Tony. Oh my God.
And it's just going to get
clip.
We do. It's just going to get worse, ladies and gentlemen. It's just going to get darker and darker as we continue on. And we haven't even gotten to the real meat and the potatoes of the Clone Wars. Like, yes, we're going to be watching episode 2. That's just the start. You know, begun the Clone Wars have. That's just the beginning. We're about to get into the actual series, the Clone Wars animated series, which just people are like, oh, that's a cartoon. That's for kids. No, it's good. No.
It's very emotional. I liked it.
God, there's so many.
And we're watching episode 2.
We're watching Attack of the Clones, the film episode, Star Wars episode 2.
Star Wars. Okay.
Yep. And then after that, we're going to be watching one of my favorites, which is the micro series. The micro series is not.
I remember those.
Again, and this is just a word of caution. The micro series is no longer considered canon, and I know that we said that we're only going to talk about canon stuff, but it's our show. We'll do whatever the fuck we want. But we're watching a fan edit of the micro series. So the way that it's edited, it could be canon because they take everything that's not canonical. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but that's not canonical. It is. It's a word. Everything that's not canon. And they've kind of stripped it down and removed it. So they created this super edit, this super cut.
Well, don't tell us.
That's gonna be in 2 weeks. I think that's gonna be while we're
away.
Yeah, that's gonna be our homework while we're on Bostowing.
Okay.
Fun.
All right, so that's it. Anybody got anything before we head on out?
No, I got nothing.
No, nothing at all. No, nobody.
I don't have anything. No.
All right, well, let's do our obligatory pimping. So check us out on all social media at the SWS Show. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast and our YouTube channel. And of course, if you want to get some merch, head on over to our website, circleofnerds.com/merch. And if you'd like to know what's coming up, you can check out the timeline. We have that posted on our website. So you can see what we're doing next for homework, what we're doing for the rest of this season. And of course, do make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode and you'll get all the alerts and all that stuff. I think in the next week or two, we're going to start uploading since we do record this on camera as well, we're going to start uploading these videos to our Patreon account. So if you are interested in becoming one of our beloved patroni, you can head on over to patreon.com/circle of nerds and join for a couple bucks and
check us out.
We'll start doing some stuff. So
we'll start dancing.
We'll give you the super secret password to our OnlyFans so you can see the spicy content.
Yeah.
That's about as spicy as it gets for us.
Wow.
But anyway, I don't know. But wait, Sherry, you've got some stuff going on in that front. Aren't you going to be doing some like cake farting or cake sitting or anything?
Not
Not going to do any of that. No. Put them cakes on a cake.
And I would not say it on here if I was. So.
All right, fair enough. All right, so everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate you. We appreciate the time that you take to listen to us babble on and on and on about Star Wars. But we do love it. So, and of course, as always, my little succulents, if no one does anything nice for you, do something nice to yourself. And we're going to see y'all next week. Bye.